Today is that time once again. It is now September 17th, 2019. One of my all-time favorite movie franchise is now officially 9 years old, which makes this to be its 9th anniversary. I can't believe it's been that long ever since it launched in theaters back in 2010 is the year it launched. I still remember the day I first time saw the trailer when I saw Shrek Forever After. I was like, what is this? It has wolves? Through the previews. At first time when I saw this, I thought to myself thinking it's like Balto because of how similar they look, especially Marcel looking similar to Boris. Many were claiming to think this is a ripoff to Balto. I'm actually planning to make a video about this someday. And others say they don't even look nothing like Balto in a way. But a couple days later, I forgot the name of that title back in the day. So I went on Google to find the name of it. All I remembered was it had the word "and" on the title. So luckily, I spotted out comingsoon.net, where it is my number one site I always use to this day today on looking at all upcoming movies. So I searched the list month by month on trying to find the title. Then suddenly, I spotted it out under September section and found it as I first time memorized the title by heart. I still have this drawing laying around as it can be found on my DeviantArt yet. I actually drew this the day before the movie even launched that day. In fact, I also made the Deviant stamps, the icons, as the 100 by 100 size ones are basically for like YouTube and other social medias. Well, cause size limitations. And the 50/50 ones are for DeviantArt cause that's the official size you can use on their site back then until now. They have the scale where you can change the size to any images now. I still make these yet. Humanized arts using the base edits from all variety of bases from DeviantArt, which, though it is rare to see humanized characters from anything, plus, I myself didn't realize that there are no humanized arts, so I myself decided to make a lot of those. Even Soul Calibur creations from Soul Calibur Broken Destiny on PSP and Soul Calibur 5, although I'm still waiting for Soul Calibur 6 to get a conclusion someday, because they add mass new equipments every time when the game gets a new update, as they even include DLC characters as well, where you get their equipments as well for creations. But as the movie launched in theater, and then, bam, I love this movie so much and became one of my all-time fave franchises. But as you can tell, on every image scenes I'm using as a reaction while talking is basically my favorite character is Humphrey, which he still is to this day yet, as he's still my favorite. I once used to make a crossover fan fiction with Kingdom Hearts on DeviantArt, as I basically made different series as main timelines, like Birth by Sleep timeline, focus on the pup years era, because it's in the beginning of the first movie, we see young Humphrey and young Kate in the past, which, in fact, if you've never played the Kingdom Hearts series, Birth by Sleep is actually the prequel to the first Kingdom Hearts. but each scenarios are different, as Terra's point of view is focused on Humphrey and his friends as he later meets up with Ventus. Ventus' point of view focused just himself, where it was a conflict between him and Vanitas based on, his scenario. But later, Ventus meets up with Terra, as seen from Terra's point of view, and the pups. But later on, he himself meets up with Aqua at a different location at the Alpha territory, until he went off by himself after looking for Vanitas. And then, in Aqua's point of view, it just focused on her with Kate and Lily at the Alpha territory, as she later meets up with Ventus. However, though, each of the scenarios have the same problem with the wolf-like unversed enemy I came up with at different locations from their point of views. Yes, I actually made it, but I never actually drew it because I didn't even know what it'll look like, because I was trying to let the fans read it, and for those who played the game, and then they'll picture it themselves, and then they could have drawn it themselves to see what it would look like from, the unversed, since Birth by Sleep focuses just the unversed. But sadly, there hasn't been anybody, and plus I myself not good at drawing wolves, by the way. Then the 358/2 days timeline focuses on the winter season during Kate's alpha training times, as it has few quote unquote deleted scenes from extra days that was skipped, where we didn't see that part of the game on Roxas, Axel, and Shion on certain missions they do together at times. Whether it's Roxas solo, Roxas with Axel, and Roxas with Shion mission. And then last, Dream Drop Distance timeline. This one focuses the present era, when Kate and Humphrey are older, which, though, this was a promotion to that game's launch that day in the US release on Nintendo 3DS, as the Sora campaign focused on the beginning of Humphrey's adulthood years all the way until Humphrey gets kidnapped. Then Riku's campaign focused on continuing on through the whole thing from being in Idaho, then adventuring back home in Jasper. However, though, around 2012, the DeviantArt staff had a panel that day after one of my friends sent me a video on the entire thing, where they announced that everything's getting changed with quote-unquote copyrights on what's being posted in galleries. Then later, I received lots of notes that half of my fanfics got striked from copyright claims, and they made a file complaint info for false claim, for, in case you want to, write, one of those kind of fight back the copyright claims and all those, those big infos and all that. I didn't understand that, as I wasn't sure whether I should continue or just delete them all after all the hard work, which I was nearly almost completed to finish the 358/2 days timeline one. But next thing, I decided to delete them all off because of the copyright strikes I received. And speaking of copyrights, if you remember the quote-unquote retro times from YouTube, when it used to be great in the past, there was this fan series called Pooh's Adventure Videos, where they cross over with all variety of movies, and sometimes they feature other characters to be in it. I myself did actually wanted to do one on Sora's adventure with Alpha and Omega, but mainly focused just on the Kingdom Hearts characters on this one. But however, though, the video gets blocked and a copyright strike for showing a full movie split part of Alpha and Omega. because, between Lionsgate and all those companies, copyright claims. Worst part, I had the whole entire movie completed that time too, and that went to waste. But nowadays, I don't even know if those Pooh's Adventures are even being made anymore because of YouTube's copyright is getting worse. Correct me if I'm wrong, if they're even still going or not, but anyways. Then, however, there was another video on making those Kingdom Hearts style videos as movies, using all the Kingdom Hearts cast to be as the characters, which was a huge inspiration by O'Reilly Fan 15, as after seeing the Kingdom Hearts style of The Lion King 1 and 2, then it got me all thinking, maybe I should do one for Alpha and Omega. But if you've seen her videos, as you notice the titles, like The Little Key Bearer as a parody for The Little Mermaid. As for me, it was a very hard choice to parody the name. It had to parody it as Alpha and Omega. As months go by, I just gave up on no help or suggestion names from any of the fans on to help make Kingdom Hearts related titles as a parody of it, because whether they've never played the games or they do love the games, but they get irritated because they don't want to talk about the game, even if they are the fans themselves, and some of them just heard of it, but they just never played it or anything. But that time, I thought it would make my channel get a strike, even if it's audio only. I could still get a copyright strike anyways. So I just gave up on that. But the good thing, however, I actually made a lot of friends from the Alpha and Omega fandom in social media. Well, mainly from here in DeviantArt. To this day, I still am friends with them, even though they no longer are fans of it today, which I myself can respect that, but I myself will always be a fan no matter what. I always still browse on DeviantArt, search for fan arts, as there are still new ones coming in at times if you look it up under newest, but there's a rare chance to find it because mainly, well, if you don't know your history, but mainly the word Alpha and Omega is actually Greek alphabets, meaning the beginning and the end, which makes Alpha the beginning and Omega the end. That does explain why there's a couple original arts or Pokemon art because of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, but barely any Alpha and Omega arts. There's even deviant groups you can find as new ones comes in every time. Well, depends what arts gets featured, but this one is the biggest group, though it's hardly active to feature new arts in this one, but the other groups are always shown though. Speaking of Alpha and Omega fans on social media, there are times where there are always RP accounts like Kate users, Humphrey users, you name it. I'll save that for another video someday. But overall, Alpha and Omega is now officially at its 9th anniversary, which makes it 9 years old. But that's also the same year as another all-time fave series I like as well, which it's coming to an end, but you probably know what it is. But anyways, happy anniversary, Alpha and Omega. You'll always be my favorite movie franchise of all time. Now to start rewatching it again, like lost count times, and to start finishing the Alpha and Omega novel to read for audio drama. What was your memory about the movie? Leave it down below. And as always, this is Sharingan1230 signing out.